Hey, what's going on, everyone?
Good
Welcome,
morning.
welcome. So, you are joining us for the KBFA podcast. I
Yes.
am Lonnie Hobbs Jr., Marketing Research Director for Kansas Black Farmers Association. Today, with me, of course, I got my man, my guy, Mr. Justin Howard. Justin, say what's up.
Good morning, everyone. What's up, KBFA family?
Yes. So, Justin is the program director and grant coordinator for the 2501 grant with KBFA. I'm not going to talk a lot. I know I can, but I am actually going to put the spotlight on our special guest today, Miss Amy June from the Land Institute. So, Amy, go ahead, introduce yourself. Tell us about yourself.
Hey, good morning, y'all. Thank you so much for having me. My name's Amy June. I work with the Land Institute out of Salina, Kansas. I'm a Lawrence, Kansas resident. I'm an enrolled member of the Eastern Shawnee Nation, also descendant of the Wyandotte. Um, and I grew up in the Washington, D.C. area and spent about the last 10 years in Philadelphia. I've worked in a lot of different disciplines. I've been in agriculture the last few years. Um, kind of took a winding road to get to the Land Institute, and I've been in Kansas about 5 months now. So
Okay.
really happy to be here.
Oh man, I'm glad to hear that you liking Kansas.
You know, it's surprising. I've loved everywhere in Kansas that I've had the pleasure of visiting so far. Yeah, it's been
Really?
wonderful.
Oh man, let's get a round of applause for Kansas real quick.
Yeah.
Real quick. All right, so Amy, you said you're with the Land Institute. So briefly tell us about the Land Institute. What is the role of the Land Institute?
Sure. It is tough to get this brief, but so the Land Institute was founded in Salina, Kansas almost 50 years ago. And primarily what we focus on right now is researching, developing, and rolling out different perennial grain agricultures. We talk about it in terms of something called natural systems agriculture, a term that was coined by our co founder, Wes Jackson, in the 80s. And what that basically means is taking something like an annual wheat and pivoting that to focus on a perennial plant through domestication or breeding, and then actually intercropping that to mimic prairie ecosystems that provide a wide variety of ecosystem services like, you know, preventing topsoil loss, sequestering carbon, hanging on to those really precious water resources that we have in Kansas. So that's kind of what we do. And we have a lot of branches within the organization that focus on crop stewardship, that focus on policy development, that focus on research, obviously. And we've become a global organization actually with partners around the world. So,
Oh
Nice,
my,
nice,
nice.
nice.
mhm. A lot
Perfect.
going on.
Oh, I'll go hop in. My bad.
Go ahead.
Um, so can you kind of explain your current role?
For sure. So I am here as the Land Institute's first ever land relations specialist. So they
First
developed
ever.
this role.
Hold on, we can't see by that now.
Thank you. Thank you.
We applaud first. We applaud
Yes,
pioneers.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I feel very lucky to be in this role. So the department that I work in is called Perennial Cultures, and my supervisor, Dr. Aubrey Streitkrug, is kind of developed this role over her last many years at the Land Institute.
Mhm.
And what I'm focusing on, at least in my first year, is really deep research into the specific place that we work in the Central Great Plains. So we think about that not just as Kansas, but like really kind of micro, looking at Saline County, Salina, the land specifically that the Land Institute owns and operates on as our
Mhm.
home hub, um, and hoping to kind of, through a really deep understanding of the historical context of the place, build new and renewed community connections across lines of difference, and inviting new perspectives and renewed perspectives into our research. So, trying to develop programming and that sort of thing, but I'm about 4 months in, so
Oh
getting my feet wet.
man, making impact in 4 months.
Trying.
Trying.
Yes, definitely.
Definitely. So let's take a step back. You talk about how you're working with the different counties or the different people in your specific area. Um, I'm sure there's an educational piece in there. You talked about training, etc. So in your current role, what are some of the educational resources that you provide?
Yeah, for sure. So in my role, I'm not too much the educator, but in my sort of perennial cultures department, my colleague Lydia Nicholson is developing a set of lessons called Kernza in Context. And Kernza is the trademark name for our perennial wheat.
Yeah.
Um, so we're building out a set of lessons specifically targeted for like high school audiences and some undergraduate classes, kind of going through those threshold concepts of perennialization. What is wheat? What does it mean to have a perennial wheat? Those kinds of things. So we're beta testing that this year, and we're hoping to roll it out on a larger scale in the near future. Um, and also in my department is the civic science experts. So we have co designed with both the public and a lot of our research partners engagement opportunities for sort of the non scientists to engage and deepen their understanding and interaction with these plants that we hope for people to adopt. So we've worked extensively with Silphium integrifolium or rosin weed, which is a native perennial plant here in the plains, investigating that as an oilseed crop.
Hmm.
And yeah, we're rolling out some different ones with Kernza this year. We're doing a Kernza in KC pilot project this year that will probably start rolling out in the fall. So lots of different sort of engagement opportunities there with a lot of my coworkers.
Man, round of applause. You guys are doing some great work. Great work. Oh yes.
So I'll hop in, Lonnie.
All right.
Um, what are some of the programs that you think would be beneficial to the KBFA community?
Yeah, so we've been like a little bit insular the last couple decades while we do this like really intense research in our labs and in our home fields, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think the biggest, sort of open access educational component that we have for other farmers is just visiting our website. We have a ton of information on there about what we do and how it can benefit different farmers. We have an entire, I referenced earlier, a department dedicated to crop stewardship, which helps farmers adopt these sort of specialty crops. And we're working with different folks to develop different policy recommendations and that sort of thing so that perennial grains and perennial agriculture can be better integrated into different USDA programs and that sort of thing. So definitely keep an eye on the website. We post a lot about different researchers going out and giving talks or attending different summits and conferences, different engagement opportunities there for ways people can plug in.
Mm,
Perfect. Perfect.
round of applause for the work of the Land Institute. So I'm gonna add a twist to that question, okay? So within that, within the things that you guys offer at the Land Institute, what are some ways that we as KBFA and our members can help you to move your mission forward?
It's a really good question. I'm really happy to be part of your podcast. I think that that is awesome to just be given the platform to kind of share our mission and the unique work that we're doing here in Kansas. So I really appreciate that. I know that um, my supervisor Aubrey was really excited to send a letter of support for the 2501 grant.
Shout
So
out to
we
Aubrey.
Yes, shout out.
absolutely, yeah.
Big shout out to Ivy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And we've worked with Dr. Johnella Holmes a bit on previous prairie festivals and things like that. So we're just really excited to be in community with y'all and kind of look for ways to work together. I'm not looking too much for ways that y'all can support us, but like ways that we can have a symbiotic relationship that
Yes.
For
really
sure.
moves everything forward.
Yes. And I do want to say, like, we are very grateful for our partnership and collaboration that we have with you guys. Like you said, you did support the
Definitely.
2501. There are many things that you guys are doing that our farmers can directly benefit from. And even
For
just
sure.
you being a part of this podcast is a great show of the relationship that we have. So I do want to applaud you guys because you are doing some awesome work. You have been supportive of KBFA, and we are very grateful for that.
Mm-hmm.
So
For sure.
I'm gonna take a step back, okay? Loosen up a little bit. So I see that you spent some time in DC and Philadelphia. Can you describe some of your experiences there?
Yeah, for sure. So I grew up in Rockville, Maryland, like a stone's throw from DC, and went to college in DC. So my time in DC was very focused on growing up and becoming an artist. And I'm not sure that I succeeded in either. But then I went ahead and decided to move to Philadelphia, where I worked in construction and eventually got into farming in 2019.
Okay.
So I've worked not necessarily in urban farms, but in sort of the Philadelphia metro area. Um, Different seasons focusing on different things. So I did cut flowers for a season, I did livestock for a season, I did kind of hand scale vegetables for a season, that sort of thing. And it totally shifted the course of my life for the better. And Philadelphia was a difficult place to leave after a decade. And I love that city and go birds. Unpopular opinion out here, but
Yeah. I guess I will support you. Round of applause for PA, for Philadelphia. I will give you a round of applause.
we love to be the
Hopefully,
underdog.
oh yeah. And you see what I'm sporting today and who went to
Hmm.
the
He's gonna rock it.
championship. No comment. No
Yeah.
comment on that.
Yeah.
Hopefully, you're all grown up now, and it seems like you got a pretty good foot in the ag space. So,
Oh yeah.
um, beautiful things coming up. I know partnerships and etc.
Hmm.
Um, I also see that some of your experience in farming and you kind of touched on it, but how did you get into it? How did you get into
I
the ag space?
Yeah, it's a good question and I don't really know how to answer it other than I eat food and I want to know where it comes from, right?
Exactly.
So it took me a long time to get there. I grew up in the suburbs and I've really only lived in urban areas. So I think one day I woke up and I was like, dang, the world is having a hard time
Yeah.
and I need to know how to grow food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, So at some point, that light switch was flipped, and I can't go back. I love growing food. I love being outside. I love working with livestock. It's been my greatest pleasure and honor to be in agriculture. And the Land Institute actually grazes some bison on part of their land, and
Nice.
it's really special to just kind of wake up on a morning in Salina and walk out the door and see bison grazing on native prairie
Oh man.
grasses. So
Uh, how much land does the Land Institute have?
right now, I believe in total there's about 650 acres in Saline County.
Okay.
So that's in Salina and around the border there. And that has changed and shifted quite a bit over the decades. Um, but it's not nothing for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. It's a good
Definitely.
chunk.
Definitely. So let me ask this, Amy. What are some ways that your experiences in farming have helped you in your current role with the Land Institute?
Yeah, I think they've done my experiences in farming have done so much for my mental health
Hmm.
that it has really enabled me to have a different type of confidence moving forward in a professional space.
Yeah.
I'm like, I worked in food service. I've like done all these sorts of different things, retail. unskilled labor, right? And then you get into farming, which is also considered unskilled labor. And you just feel bogged down a lot and not able to kind of break through these invisible ceilings as a woman, as a queer person, all of these things. Um, so I think farming has given me that peace and space to kind of figure myself out and move as I want to through the world. And it also has given me, in my current role, a good primer background for what farmers are experiencing.
Yeah.
Um, if you have 300 acres of wheat in Kansas, that looks really different than sort of the diversified vegetables that I used to work in and things like that. But I do have a base level of understanding of how radically one storm can shift your whole season,
Yeah.
or
Mhm.
the backbreaking work of weeding your crops and that sort of thing. So it gives me a different type of empathy, I think, as
Okay.
I meet people and move through Kansas.
Definitely.
Definitely, for sure.
Oh man, shout out to all the farmers out there. All right, so I'll jump in with another one. So we see that you carry many impactful roles during your career. How has your journey helped you to succeed in the role that you currently hold?
My journey has been winding. I think I think there's a big cultural shift right now among youth and sort of the younger generations in the workforce, that
Mhm.
whatever you did in the past, whether that was food service, whether that was farm labor, that doesn't preclude you from entering a different type of workspace. And I think it just informs a more well-rounded person when
Mhm.
you go into a different type of space. So I think about attending conferences and meeting people and networking and all this sort of stuff that I do now. And it's really informed and helped by my customer service background, right?
Mm.
And just having that comfort in meeting people and finding connections, finding similarities among different types of people. So I think that winding road is actually a real benefit, and people are
Definitely.
starting to realize that more,
Oh man.
if that makes
Very, very. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I got to give you a round of applause for that one. Very, very impactful. Very impactful. I don't think people really understand the importance of the different the different twists and turns that you take on your journey,
Mhm.
because that's a big piece in helping you to be prepared once you get to the place that you go. So
Mhm.
very, very good answer to that. I really love that answer. Yes, yes. Hey, Justin, you want to pick
Yes.
up the next one, my man?
Yeah, I got it. So, kind of based off of that, to piggyback on your last response, kind of um, the knowledge that you gained along your journey. What are some things that you can share with our network and our farmers that would kind of like let them be aware of some things coming up and kind of spring us forward with that?
Mhm. Yeah, so in terms of things that we have going on at the Land Institute that folks can engage with,
Mhm.
um, we have Friday mornings, we have kind of open tours. You have to sign up on the website, but we're really excited to host people and tour our facilities and labs and research fields so that people can feel and see and touch these different plants that we're really into and excited about.
What time are those tours? They're every Friday.
Every Friday, I believe that you can kind of pick your time slot. They're usually in the mornings. Sometimes you can opt to have a scientist lead them if you're particularly interested in that. Um, Want to talk about genomic study and all this sort of higher level stuff that I'm like, just put me outside and talk to me about plants.
Yeah.
Right.
But I work with a lot of brilliant people who would be more than happy to host anyone and kind of explain our work.
And you just sign up for that, and then it's
And then
pretty
you show
tentative
up.
schedule. Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah,
That's
we have a
that's tight.
coordinator for that. And then we also have a 206-acre nature area called the Marty Bender Nature Area that is kind of adjacent to our headquarters there. And that has about 3 miles of trails through
Oh
native
wow.
prairie. And I know Destiny in the last episode, Destiny Flemons of Pheasants and Quail Forever, she was noting that Kansas is about 98% private owned. So having that public space that is just open to anyone to enjoy is really special. So we're really excited to offer that to the public.
Oh
Yeah, for
yes,
sure.
yes,
That
yes,
sounds
definitely,
amazing. I will
definitely,
be signing up.
Yes,
yes,
come up.
Yep.
For
Yep.
yes,
sure.
indeed. All
Okay.
right, so Amy, as we are wrapping up, any departing thoughts?
So many, so many. Um, Yeah, I think just a point to underscore is that it's been estimated that about 70% of the calories that the human race consumes is from grains.
Mhm.
So that defined as cereals, oil seeds, legumes, right?
Yes,
So, what we're working on with the Land Institute is kind of a radical cultural shift away from annual cropping systems towards perennial systems that support not only humans into a more sort of just future when we think about agricultural futures, reduced labor, um, reduced risks for farmers on a year with bad storms and things like that, but also supporting the entire ecosphere. So that meaning the more than human world, supporting those pollinators, supporting those grazers, supporting the birds, and inviting the more than human world back into our agricultural spaces.
definitely.
So I just want to underscore that we have a really awesome opportunity to kind of propel this forward. And thank you so much for having me.
Oh
Yeah.
yes,
Our
yes, yes,
pleasure, definitely.
definitely. Thank you for joining us. You've done an awesome job. You've not only shared your journey, but you've also helped us to see more of the role of the Land Institute and the many awesome things that the Land Institute is doing, that I know our members will benefit from directly. So I just
Yes.
wanted to say thank you to you. One more round of applause, really quickly. Absolute great job, um, Justin. I am going to ask you any kind of quick plugs or anything you want to throw in about what's coming up with KBFA.
Yeah, there's a ton of things on the horizon. I won't mention the other events we have today because by the time they see it, it'll be past. But
Yeah.
we're always mixing the pot at KBFA. We always have things going on. Stay tuned. Plug into our social media. Reach out to Dr. Holmes, myself, or Lonnie for any questions, concerns, and things. Go ahead, Amy. You had a
Yeah, I
plug.
also want to shout out that we're going to host the annual meeting in October, which we're
Yeah.
really looking forward to in Lawrence. We have a beautiful space that we're really excited to open up to y'all and explore. So
Yep,
can't wait.
yep, yep. And that would be I think it's usually the last Thursday of the month for that. So
Yes.
obviously we'll send out more correspondence related to that. But I'm excited for that, and I'm definitely gonna get on one of those tours in Salina um, before the summer's over because I definitely want to do that. Bring the family out
Definitely.
there. I think it'll be a great space. And also KBFA, we're always looking for opportunities. That's one thing I know that we do.
Yep.
We want to support our farmers the best way, and things are changing right now, and things are always on the move. So we also appreciate our membership support, and not just our support, but also information. I think I always plug the information thing because each one teach one. It's a thing, and
Very
we
true.
need to be sure to lock into each other and make sure that we support each other in those ways. And thank you, Amy June. It was a pleasure. Definitely enjoyed your company today. It was very beneficial to our membership for sure. And looking forward to future continuing our partnership in other ways that we can support each other.
Yes, thank you guys so much. Thank you, KBFA and Dr. Johnella Holmes. Y'all are total rock stars, and I'm just so glad to be here with you.
Thank
Definitely.
you. Thank you. One
Thank
more round of
you.
applause, man. We really appreciate it.
Yes.
All right. And with that, I believe we are wrapped up. So be on the lookout. We will have some more KBFA episodes coming out soon. With that,
Peace,
peace.
y'all.
All right. Let me get us ended.